Well, it looks like we're live.
Okay.
We're live for episode 38.
Wow.
I think this is your most favorite movie yet.
You don't know that.
I don't know. I'm assuming, but I shouldn't assume anything because
Don't make assumptions.
it makes an ass out of you and me.
That's right.
It does. You don't want to do that. Wouldn't want to make assumptions.
Shouldn't do it.
I try not to.
But you just did.
I know, terrifying. Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your Viceroy of Verisimilitude, your sommelier of cinema, Robert Meyer Burnett, and I'm here with my associate, with my compadre, with my fellow traveler on this movie trivia or movie odyssey that we're on.
Yes.
And who might you be?
I am Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell.
Elizabeth, the Gwendolyn, yeah. Yes, you are.
Go ahead.
No, go.
You want to introduce me? Go
I
ahead.
didn't mean to interrupt. And what are you?
I am the ace.
The ace.
The arbiter of cinematic excellence.
The arbiter of cinematic excellence. And what else are you?
The enchantress of entertainment.
The enchantress of entertainment. We are here with episode 38 of Elizabeth's
Whining about movies.
That's right. And today, we have 1999's very controversial
Yes.
David Fincher film, Fight Club, based on a novel by Chuck Palahniuk. I can never pronounce his name right. He's a great writer,
What's his
though.
name?
Chuck Palahniuk. Palahniuk? I don't know. But he's a great author.
Is he?
He is. I've got some of his work right here. So we should be drinking to that.
Yes.
And so when we get started, what are we drinking? I don't even know what we're drinking tonight. We're drinking a purebred Zinfandel.
Yes.
Here it
we
is.
are.
Just picked this up at Trader Joe's, a purebred Zinfandel after we went to the dog park for the first time in like a month.
Yeah.
There was not many people there.
There were
They
like
didn't
three
know.
dogs there.
Yeah, it was. You know what? There's nothing sadder than a giant open space dog park with only a few dogs.
Well, Gilbert didn't seem to mind.
No, Gilbert was having a good time. Gilbert's like me. He'll have fun anywhere. It doesn't matter where he is. Gilbert will find the fun, and if he can't find it, he'll make the fun.
He will. He will.
So, let's drink to David Fincher's 1999 Fight Club, a movie that went pretty far over budget when it was being made.
Oh, really?
Yep. Arne Milchan, one of the producers, wanted to pull out of financing it after, they wanted Russell Crowe to play the Brad Pitt part. Russell Crowe was going to play
Okay.
Tyler Durden.
Okay, I could see that, but I think Brad Pitt was a much
Brad Pitt
better choice.
Knocked it out of the park. I was looking for
Do you have a figure?
I do, but it's not very good. It's bootleg.
Okay. Oh, is that him right there?
Yeah, it's a bootleg
Can
thing.
you, if it's
Oh,
Brad Pitt, you
come on, it's
gotta
not-
get him.
All right, it's not good.
No, I don't care.
Okay, now this is a bootleg, a bootleg Brad Pitt figure from Fight Club.
Okay.
It's not a great figure. I do not.
It's
it's
it
bootleg.
doesn't really look like him, but his clothes.
Look, one day I'm
They're
gonna get
cool.
the. I'm gonna get the 2-pack. I'm gonna get the
He
Blitzway
looks
2-pack.
like he looks like Ben Stiller.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Looks like Ben
I
Stiller.
got this bootleg. I did not get the Blitzway 2-pack of them. It's like $800 now of
It's
two
Ben
different titles.
Stiller.
Okay, just don't lose his glasses. I know. I bought this early on back in the Ludovico days when I was working on Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I really wanted a Tyler Durden figure. This is a third-party bootleg figure. They make these beautiful figures. Blitzway does. It's a 2-pack. It's like $800 now. When I finally get it, you will have forgotten that it was $800. But
No.
Anyway,
I won't
so-
forget.
so this film,
$800. You already have a figure. A figure.
a figure, like so. Anyway, so Elizabeth, what is this movie about?
What is this movie about?
Yeah, what is it about?
This is about a man,
An unnamed narrator.
right? And I love narrated films, but this film. Well, where should I start? Should we go through the?
You know what? This is Elizaviews, so I normally I think we should try and recap the plot.
Okay.
This is one of those movies where I think it's worth doing.
Okay. So what is the first scene? He's
He's got a gun in his mouth.
Oh,
It's a flashback
right. It's
to
a
the end.
flashback. Okay. Okay, yeah. But then,
I am Jack's flashback.
okay, I don't remember the flashback.
Well, the movie opens at the end.
Right. Okay.
And he has a gun in his mouth, and he's talking about his position in life and what's going on, and we don't know what's going on. But when you have a gun in your mouth, things aren't good.
Right.
And it sort of flashes back, and Edward Norton plays our narrator, and he remains unnamed, but based on a series of books he reads later in the movie, he talks about Jack. So maybe he's Jack. But our character is basically talking about the malaise of the modern man.
Right.
Of how in 1999 there was a couple movies like this. Kevin Spacey in American Beauty was kind of the same vibe. There was a lot of Gen X angst about what are we doing as men? Where are we now in our lives in the late 90s?
Right.
What does it all mean?
Well, that's what this whole film is about.
The whole film is absolutely about that. And what does it mean? And Ed Norton basically tells us he works for a car company.
Right.
And basically his job as an inspector is to go out and see when people have died in fatal car crashes. They wonder, should we do recalls or is it cheaper?
So he calculates whether the recall is going to cost less than
paying out the family of the
right.
if there's a lawsuit or something.
And most of the time they just put up with the lawsuits.
They put up with the lawsuits and allow safety to go by the wayside, and maybe people will die.
They don't do the recalls.
But basically, that's a metaphor for the state of American capitalism.
Yeah.
You know, and also he's a character that talks about. He looks through IKEA catalogs and
right. Okay, let's get into the plot. Now you're just talking about him.
Well, I think
okay,
you have
I just didn't remember the first scene. So he's got the gun in his mouth. He's talking about the state of men, and then what happens after that?
Well, it goes through.
He goes to okay.
No, first of all, it goes through his entire life. It shows his job. It shows his home life and how he sits at home and orders things from catalogs.
Oh, that's the next scene.
That's the whole thing.
He has this apartment.
I'm there, babe. He has this life. Basically, he has this treadmill life that has been completely designed by growing up in a culture where he's been inundated with advertising, and his entire life is a construct. It's not his. It's this culture that he's been sold a bill of goods and bought into, and there's nothing in his life that's real. And the most important thing is he cannot sleep.
Right.
He cannot sleep. He has and I think because he's got so much angst that his life is not his. He has no emotional connections. He has nothing real in his life. All he does is buy things and go places. His job isn't real. Nothing means anything. He's on a treadmill. It's basically the culmination of his modern life is meaningless to him. It's an emotionless grind that has destroyed his soul to the point where he can't even sleep anymore. Would you agree? I mean, if I'm wrong.
Yeah. I can talk now?
Sorry. Woo! Please.
Okay.
It is as they said in talk radio, it's your show, Bear. It's your show, Elizabeth.
So he can't sleep because his life is just this formula, and it's just always the same thing. His job, which really gets to him because basically they're not taking care of people. And he's allowing, this corporation to have the upper hand. And so he puts all his efforts into his apartment and he buys this IKEA furniture.
Didn't I just say all that?
Well, yeah, you did.
And so the next step is...
Okay, fine, he can't sleep.
So what does he...
To be able to sleep, actually, he goes to see the doctor and he's like, woe is me, I feel terrible. And the doctor's like, you should go check out the testicular
the men with testicular cancer
support group, and you'll see
real pain.
Real pain. So he's like, oh, okay. So he goes to the support group, and he has this cathartic moment where he just is able to cry, and even though he doesn't have testicular cancer, he
fakes it.
He fakes it, and he just has this release.
And he meets Robert Paulson, played by Meatloaf, a man who was a juicer, a bodybuilder, who has testicular cancer, and he has these giant male bitch tits that he calls them, because his chest fills with fluid, and all of these men are in terrible shape. Their women have left them. They couldn't reproduce. One guy talks about how he always wanted to have children with his wife, but then his wife got remarried and had kids with someone else. And so he starts going every day. He's going to different...
So he finds all these different support groups. So he goes to one every single day of the week, and it helps him sleep. Every time he has this cathartic release, and he's able to sleep.
Because he has real emotion, a real emotional connection. Now, even though he's lying, he's getting it back from men who are suffering.
Well, he knows that the other people in those groups have actual pain.
Have real pain.
Yeah, have real pain, and so...
So he's becoming a pain vampire. He goes at night.
Yes.
To feed off other people's pain.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say he's feeding off their pain. He's like releasing pain with them.
Yes, that's true.
And so he does that for a year, and then all of a sudden he notices this woman who is in every meeting that he goes to. And once he notices her...
Marla Singer.
He calls her a tourist. And after that he cannot sleep again because there's another faker in the group.
And he can't have that real emotional release knowing that he's either being observed, like she's onto him, he's onto her.
Yeah. Knowing that there's another faker in the group, he just can't.
Can't deal with it.
So he gets really upset and he confronts her. And tells her that she can't come to the meetings anymore. And she's like, I'm coming to the meetings. And so then they decide to divide up the meetings. Okay, you get these 3 days and I'll get these 3 days. And then she's like, well, what about the seventh day? And then they split that. Like, you get these 2 weeks and I get these 2 weeks.
I mean, they're literally splitting the pain that they're both feeding off of.
Yeah.
They're I mean, it's gone into this realm that it's so dark to me. This is such a dark thing to be doing. Like, we're already both faking, but we're going there, and she says she's going for the free coffee.
Right. Well, you know she's not.
I mean, she's suicidal. She's living on the edge. She steals people's clothes from laundromats and sells them.
Yes.
I mean, she's like an anarchist.
Yeah,
she's living
she walks
off
into the middle of the street, doesn't even look.
Doesn't care.
Cars zoom past her. She doesn't care because she always thinks like she's gonna die.
And then one night, our narrator Ed Norton goes home to his house after coming back from. Oh no, not yet.
Yeah, he goes on a trip.
Well, he goes on a trip. One of his trips to look at blown up cars or whatever.
So he goes on a trip, and on his way home, he sits next to Tyler Durden.
Tyler Durden. Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt
is Tyler Durden, and Tyler Durden's a philosopher of the modern age.
Yes, he is.
Of the modern man. Tyler Durden says all kinds of platitudes, like you don't own things, they own you.
Yes.
I mean, he's basically everything that we've seen about society so far. Tyler Durden is espousing verbally and giving back what our narrator has told us is coming back right from Tyler Durden. So immediately our narrator is very enamored of this man.
He is. He is hearing all the things he wants to hear.
He's hearing everything he wants to hear. He's having, for the first time, dare I say it, an emotional connection with somebody that's not at a cancer survivors group.
Right.
Tyler Durden is the first person our narrator's connecting with emotionally.
Yes. So he gives him his business card, and
what does Tyler Durden do for a living?
Oh, he makes soap.
He makes soap. High-end soap that he sells to department stores, and we even see a woman at one of the cosmetics counters who says, "I love your soap."
Yes, he makes expensive soap.
Expensive soap. Gives him the card, and Tyler Durden, what's interesting, walks away on the plane. Like, they're sitting together, but then he walks off into the first class section.
Yeah, he just goes into
never
first
to be
class.
seen again.
Yeah.
And then Ed Norton goes home. He lands and goes home. And what happens to what happens?
He goes home, and there's a weird thing that happens with his suitcase, And
Well, they have the
then-
same suitcase.
Right.
But what happens when he gets to his house?
Interesting. They have the same suitcase.
They have the same suitcase. What
So
happens?
he gets to his house and he looks up and it's on fire.
It's exploded.
Yeah,
His apartment blew up.
it blew up.
And all of his yin and yang, cute yin and yang
Table
that he mentioned is on
everything's out
his
on
whole
the ground.
life is destroyed.
It's yes.
Literally up in flames.
Yeah, so he doesn't know what to do, and then he finds Marla's phone number on the ground with his stuff, and so he goes over to a payphone and he calls her, but she doesn't pick up. So then he finds the business card in his pocket, and he calls Tyler.
Now, I think it's important to remember here that this is a pivotal point in the movie because he has no one, no friends, no
Right.
family, no one to call. He doesn't even call his boss. He calls two people, the tourists.
Two strangers.
So he's completely alienated from the world. I mean,
Yeah.
this is I think a pivotal moment because the people that he's going to call he has no connection to at all. He has no other human connections other than Marla Singer and to this new character that he literally met on the plane before he landed.
Right. So he
Very
calls
telling.
Tyler, and he doesn't answer. But then a few seconds later, after he hangs up, the phone rings.
Tyler Star 69. Remember that? Star
Star
69.
69 him.
So kids watching this movie today are like,
Like,
what's Star
what's that?
69? Lamau.
Somehow.
Davey 504 knows what that means.
No, he doesn't. So then he answers the phone, and it's Tyler. And basically, what does he say? I don't remember.
Well, he's like he goes to meet Tyler Durden, and they go to a bar, and they drink 3 pitchers of beer.
They do. They are at the bar. They drink a lot of beer, and as they're leaving, they just start fighting.
Well, no, they start talking,
Oh yeah, they start talking. I don't.
and
remember
then
how it
Tyler
goes.
Durden says, "I want you to hit me as hard as you can."
Right.
And Ed Norton he doesn't hang with this at all.
He's like, what?
Does not hang.
Why would I do that?
And Brad Pitt's like, come on, sit me. And he does.
He does. He hits him.
And they get into this knockdown, drag
He's like,
out.
you hit me in the ear, and then he's like, oh, that was great. And then he punches him in the stomach. Yes, and then they beat the shit out of each other right there in the parking lot.
They do. And now let me ask you something. Do you think that the fighting, the actual physical fighting in this movie is metaphoric, or what does that all mean? Like as we move forward, they clearly, I mean, it's not, there's a lot of, I guess you could call it, I mean, for the author of the book, you could call it homoerotic imagery if you wanted to, but I really think that the fighting for me is metaphorical. It's connecting with another man.
Right.
Like,
well, it's all about how he was feeling emasculated, and then all the fighting is about that. It's about being a man.
right. But being a man, across the whole spectrum of whatever maleness is.
It's testosterone on steroids. It's like,
But it supersedes going to the cancer meetings in a way. I mean, when you're actually fighting with someone else, there's a release. Like he talks about how, it might have been, it's beyond sexual, it's beyond spiritual, it's beyond emotional. It takes you to another level as you're physically being tested
right.
or something. Now, how'd you feel about that?
I mean, that first scene, okay, I can take some violence. It gets way worse from there. This is the turning point in this film. Like this,
Turning point for you or in general?
whatever. It's the turning point. The first part is very interesting. It's about this guy struggling with his life and trying to figure that out and finding ways to deal with that. And then and then the fighting starts.
Well, okay, then something else happens. So after they fight, Ed Norton has nowhere to go. He says he's going to get a hotel. Then Brad Pitt goes, why don't you ask me?
He's never said he was going to get a hotel.
He does say he's going to get a hotel. He's going, I guess I got to go get a hotel. And Brad Pitt says, no, just ask me. Just ask me the question.
And he's like, ask you what? No, he's like, no, I never intended. And he's like, just ask me.
And, well, come stay with me. Brad Pitt, Tyler Durden says, comes to Ed Norton's character, come stay with me. And they go into this industrial shithole area of town, warehouses, and there's this giant, dilapidated Victorian mansion that is the last remaining structure that is broken down. I mean, as they say in the movie, right one step away from demolition. Now, how did you feel like when that's where he takes him? To this crazy Victorian mansion? I mean, we're always watching home renovation shows, and you're in the middle of presumably, kind of like the movie Seven. They never really, I assume the city's LA. It looks like LA. We see LA places. So I've just assumed that, we're in LA, and now you're down in the middle of the industrial district somewhere, and there's this one house that's...
Yeah. And I've seen those houses sandwiched between factories and stuff.
Right. So it's so what did you think? So they go back, and this place is a hovel.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, because Brad Pitt seems like that kind of guy.
He seems like, was he an anarchist? Like, what kind of guy?
Yeah, totally. So, yeah. So they end up in this dilapidated... And later on, when more people join them, I'm thinking, okay...
Hey, whoa, you're getting way ahead of us.
Okay, this is really hard to restrain. Okay, let's continue.
Well, we don't have to restrain. Like, look, the people who are coming to watch this movie, coming to watch this show, they know the plot. And like Dieter Bastian said, Rob, it's fun to watch us recount. It's fun to watch you recount the plot, but I'd much rather hear your opinions and philosophy behind where this movie goes. So don't restrain yourself. I really want to know, because I know you really do. Let me ask you this, Elizabeth.
We're not to that point yet.
Okay.
Don't ask me that.
Okay, keep going.
Let's finish the plot, and then we can dive in, and then I will tell you what I think of this movie.
What, you want me to finish the plot?
No, where were we?
So they go to this house, and they're living there.
They're living in this shithole. And
they settle into this routine.
Yes, the routine is he goes to work 5 days a week, and then on the weekends they beat the shit out of each other. And
yet people see them, like in the bar parking lot, and people start seeing them fight.
That's right. That's how it extended.
And other men come out, and suddenly Tyler Durden and our narrator, but mostly Tyler Durden, comes up with the idea of a fight club.
And they have these rules.
8 rules.
8 rules. And the first 2 are never talk about Fight Club.
And the second rule is never talk about Fight Club. So we're already in trouble. We can't we're excommunicated from this club.
Oh, we're in so much trouble.
And another rule that I like is if it's your they actually have a lot of very good rules. Like if you tap out, a fight ends. They've got a lot of rules so no one gets killed.
Oh, okay. So no one gets killed.
No, but they're trying to keep it. But what my favorite rule is if it's your first night at Fight Club, you have to fight.
You have to fight.
And then we have sort of a montage of their life living in this dilapidated house. And
he's happy. For a month, everything's great.
And his work, I mean, he shows up at work, he barely wears a tie, he's always got blood, he looks disheveled, he's a mess.
Always black eyes, like a mess.
And his boss that would once again say, your action items are, the buttoned-up corporate dude is noticing he's completely
off the rails. He's
a
mess. He's falling apart. But in his eyes, he's like getting to be
he's
strong.
Liberated. He's finding a new... He's like a phoenix in the flames. He's being forged into a new man.
Yeah. And you can see his defiance is growing and growing and growing.
And all of the philosophy that Tyler is espousing about the modern age is rubbing off on it.
It's about just being free. Freeing yourself from your social constructs and your
our modern age.
Yes.
Our soul-crushing capitalism that has he's already, his own company was already cheating the system. Everybody's cheating the system. The whole system's corrupt. We don't know just what they want, what Tyler really wants, but so
Right.
this Fight Club becomes a thing.
It becomes a thing, and it grows bigger and bigger and bigger, and then finally, it's like huge, and they're meeting in a basement of a building.
Well, of the bar. The bar that,
it's
in the bar.
The bar where they initially met. Okay.
Yeah, and then one night, Marla Singer calls.
Right.
Our missing Marla Singer.
She calls him.
And he has.
And she's like, "Where have you been? Yeah. You haven't been to the meetings." And he's like, "How do you know? Because we go every other." And she's like, "Oh, I cheated." So she's wondering where he's been.
Now, do you think she cheated because she likes him?
Both. She cheated because she needed more,
But she's also, Marla Singer, I think, is looking for a connection as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And she understands that, he might understand her, I think. So she reaches out, and she's trying to kill herself.
Yes.
She says, I've called you, and I've taken too many pills.
Too many Xanax.
And then we see him leave the phone.
And he doesn't even care. He just sets the phone on.
Can't deal with their bullshit and walks away.
Walks away. And then, just so happens, Tyler walks by and sees the phone off the hook. And he picks it up. And he hears her saying that she took too many pills. And he's the one who goes to her apartment to see if she's okay.
To rescue her.
Kind of ironic.
And what happens?
So he gets there and they bond.
And what's really interesting too is when they're leaving, the police come.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of flourishes in this movie that I find interesting from a story standpoint. How did the police know that there was a problem? If she's in her apartment by herself taking pills and she calls...
Somebody called, maybe one of the neighbors?
How would they know? Unless she's out there screaming.
True.
It's really interesting. And all through this movie, there's a lot of really interesting flourishes that I don't want to... If you've never seen this movie, even though we're ruining it, like, what did you ask me when we were watching the movie last night?
What did I ask you?
You said, was that...
Oh, yeah, there's flashes
what's going on?
Tyler, at the very beginning, when he's going to the meetings.
Okay, you've spoiled something, but...
What are you talking about? You just asked me.
I know, but when you're watching the movie, there are these flashes that you don't know what they are.
Well...
They're flashes.
I know what they are.
Well, now, because you've seen the movie.
Twice.
But you didn't remember anything about it.
Oh, I remember.
So what happens is, Tyler brings Marla Singer to their house. And there's this very beautifully done sex sequence between the two of them. And they bone the shit out of each other. This is like Olympic bonage.
It's Brad Pitt at his peak. Brad Pitt with his shirt off.
Oh. He's never been... This is peak Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, it was...
Hello.
And this was, you had Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that came out 20 years later. He still looked great. But this was a man at the height of his physicality.
Right.
Brad Pitt there wasn't an ounce of fat on him. He was all tight sinew.
Yeah.
And by the way, both Ed Norton and Brad Pitt trained in various fighting styles to make this movie.
Right.
And they went full on.
Norton is a skinny guy. He's a skinny, lanky guy.
Yeah, he didn't bulk up. Which is good because it's not him. So Marla Singer has now invaded, and when she comes downstairs the next morning, Ed Norton is freaked out.
He's like, "What are you doing in my house?"
Yeah, he does not like this at all.
What do you mean? And she gets mad and leaves. Yes.
So
then there's just lots of fighting he manipulates his boss. This is crazy. He goes into his boss's office and basically extorts him and says, "You have to pay me a salary." Because his boss is always on him, you need to dress and look better and do your job.
Well, he beats himself up.
He beats himself up to get his boss to pay him a salary.
Well, he makes it look like his boss beat him up. But the boss is so weird. But What's really interesting is in the movie when, as he's beating himself up, he says, "This is like the first time I met Tyler." When he's beating himself up.
Ding, ding, ding.
And so he basically gets him to pay him for a while. He gets on salary or whatever so they can live. Everything's cool.
Yeah, so now that he's being paid.
And then Tyler shows him how to make soap. How does he make soap? What's the great secret of Tyler Durden's soap?
Well, before we get to the soap, now he's being paid to be at home. And so they now have Fight Club 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has the time. So they're going to make soap. So he says, you need fat and you need lye to make soap. So Tyler says the best fat to use for this luxury soap is human fat.
So they go to like a liposuction clinic, and he says, I love selling these women's fat asses back to them. I mean, and again, the Tyler Durden's philosophy of life just keeps amping up. I mean, he's an anarchist, he's Antifa, he's all those things that we now are seeing in our own lives for real now, but he's one of those people. He's a revolutionary, and everything he does, he's an he's a food terrorist. He also works jobs and where he pees into food, he jerks off into other foods, serves them to people. He's an all-around, let's just burn the system down kind of guy.
Yeah, total anarchist for sure. So, they go and get the fat. They make the soap. Oh, and then he burns him with the lye. He burns his hand.
But why does he burn his hand?
Why?
Well, I think he burns his hand because he wants him to feel the real pain.
Right.
Like, you need to experience the real physical pain and work through your pain. And once you have done that, you understand. And he shows him that he too burned his hand.
Yeah, and it happens to be the same scar.
And it's all about forging, creating a new persona. You know, everything that men in the modern age have lost, Tyler Durden is about forging into this new paradigm. That's really an old paradigm brought back from the dead.
Yeah. So there's a lot of fighting.
Well, there's a lot of fighting, but
a lot over the top violence in this film.
A lot of fighting, but then what really happens is that Tyler Durden basically decides his master plan is he's using Fight Club to find people to build his army. He's building his army for something he calls Project Mayhem.
Right.
And he's been using Fight Club to see who is strong enough. And he's like, if you want to come, you have to sit outside my doorstep for 3 days. I'm going to abuse you, and if you stick it out. And like Robert Paulson, Meatloaf comes, and Jared Leto who's in this movie. So all the people, the Fight Club is just really a front that he's using to find who's got the stuff.
Right, and so he builds this army, and they all live in the house.
It's all their clubhouse.
It becomes a very large army.
A very large army, Project Mayhem, and
they start setting bombs.
And presumably all of these men are the same, like white collar, disaffected men, Gen Xers suffering late 90s malaise. They're all suffering from the same thing. That maledom, maleness, whatever, has been toxic, what we call now toxic masculinity. This movie's all about finding that toxic masculinity and you channeling it. You come be the hunter that used to be the hunter-gatherer. Let's go back to the old ways. Yeah. And the Fight Club was just the beginning. And that was just a way to pick those people out. And now he's using through military discipline, making people go on missions and blowing up corporate like Starbucks without saying Starbucks. And he's forging these people. He's training them. It's like military training.
Yes, so they become terrorists, and they set bombs all over town.
Well, you're jumping ahead, but we can go there.
I mean, what did I jump over?
Well, okay. So, yes. So, ultimately, Project Mayhem is happening, and Ed Norton finally the truth is revealed to him.
Oh, now you're jumping. Okay.
Well, no, but we might as well because this could take forever. We're taking a long. Where are we at now?
7:36.
We're all right. All right.
It's all right. Let's get through the plot.
Well, yeah, because the philosophy is the more interesting part of this movie.
Yeah,
First of all,
the
can I just say
philosophy.
the filmmaking technique this is a virtuoso lesson in style. This movie, like all of David Fincher's films, is meticulously crafted. It is beautifully made. It uses all kinds of techniques. The cinematography is amazing. The use of CGI, which is sparing, but it is an unbelievably well-made movie. The Dust Brothers soundtrack is amazing. Jeff Cronenweth's, the son of Jordan Cronenweth, who shot Blade Runner, among other things, shot this movie. Impeccable craft. Would you agree?
Sure. So,
I don't think you're having fun.
back to the plot.
Are you having fun here? See, I find this movie really fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I do.
I'm sure you do.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Can we get through the plot so that I can tell you what I really think of this movie?
Okay, so the plot happens. Tyler Durden's building an army, and Ed Norton does not know. He does not know. And him and Marla Singer is always weird to him. Like, they're always weird to one another, and you never see Brad Pitt and Marla Singer in the same with Ed Norton.
Yes.
So there's a lot of wackiness going on. And ultimately, Ed Norton discovers that there are fight clubs all around the country, and he finds all kinds of, like, Tyler Durden has been going around, and so he goes on a fact-finding mission where he travels around the country, and he finds out there's fight clubs everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere he goes, there's people that call him Commander.
Right.
Everybody knows him, and he's like, how do you know me? And what is the reveal? What is the big...
So it's revealed that Brad Pitt is actually Edward Norton.
There's only one of them.
There's only one.
And Ed Norton has had some kind of he couldn't sleep, he couldn't chew valerian root, he's had a psychotic break,
Yep.
He's become a complete functioning schizophrenic, and he's created this whole other persona that is diabolical and smart, and
yes.
and so he's created this...
Basically, the Brad Pitt character has set him free to do whatever the hell he wanted to do.
Yeah, free to... Everything he talks about in the beginning of this movie, he's going to burn it all down.
Yeah.
Just destroy it all.
All the constraints of society are gone. Basically, Brad Pitt gives him permission to do whatever the hell he wants.
And he's created this army, and he's built a failsafe into it, where he knew at some point that this was going to happen. He was going to be revealed for what he was. So he made sure that all of the people in this army that he's built would say, like, you told us that. You told us you would say that.
Right.
So there's no way he cannot stop. And he finds out that Project Mayhem is about destroying the entire financial sector, like 8 buildings in L.A., destroy TRW, all the credit agencies, the IRS. He's going to destroy and set everybody back to zero, because it's this rampant consumerism and money that ruins everything, that destroys men, that we need to go back to being what we were. And he finds all this out, and he finds out that he's the one that's been boning down with Marla Singer the whole time, and their relationship, and he tries to get rid of her by putting her on a bus, and he tries to stop this, and he realizes, oh my God, they're going to... And by the way, this movie was pre-9/11. This movie came out in 1999.
1999.
And when the Pixies are singing at the end, well, we haven't got there yet, but all kinds of shenanigans happen. Long story short, the fuse that he lit cannot be put back. The Pandora's box that he's opened, the army that he has created is all around the country, and he ends up confronting himself and Marla Singer she's brought there, and Tyler Durden succeeds. I mean,
well, yes.
The movie ends, and all of these buildings are destroyed. If it's downtown LA, he's basically committed the biggest terrorist attack in all of human history. He's blown up all these buildings, and where is my mind? Whatever. And he wins. In confronting him, even
except he's acting like he didn't want it to happen.
Well, yes, because now his sanity is returning to him, and now that there's no more Tyler Durden, his inner, he's now grappling with. Okay, well, anyways.
I think okay.
So now here, let me ask you the question I always ask you. So, first of all, cheers to this movie, and cheers to Chuck Palahniuk, and here's to. And I mean that with no disrespect. I mean that with great love. I would ask you, Elizabeth, if you do not want to cheers to the movie, I want to cheers. I'll just drink to myself. Okay. What did you think of Fight Club, Elizabeth? What did you think of this movie?
I think the ending is just an excuse for someone to make a testosterone pumped on steroids movie about men beating the shit out of each other.
Don't you think that's a little simplistic?
No.
I mean, what about all the deeper philosophical underpinnings?
Deeper philosophical. It's all an excuse to make a film, a really super, super violent film about men beating the shit out of each other.
That's all you got out of it? Like all the commentary about consumerism and rampant capitalism and the fact that corporations are willing to sacrifice human lives.
Sure,
all
that's
the
all
stuff.
terrible. That's all terrible. But in the end, okay, if this is a commentary on telling men how not to be, I don't think that's what men take away from this film.
Really? What do you think?
I really don't. I think men take away from this film like, that was fucking awesome. That's what I think men take away from this film.
That's true. But, I mean, philosophically, there's a lot going on. Like, do you as a woman do you just reject this entire movie? Do you just, like, there's nothing about this movie?
I think it started off really, really interesting. I really love the beginning where he is, like, struggling with his feelings and he's going to these meetings and he's trying to figure it all out. I even like the idea of him struggling with his mental illness. But all the stuff in between, and it's a lot. It's a lot of Fight Club. A lot. And you could allude to Fight Club and you can, like, show scenes of guys beating each other up, but, like, it's taken to a level that it's, like, way too far.
Why is it too far?
The violence in this film is just... And I can take some violence, but this is just way over the top. And I think...
Come on, you didn't find a bunch of sweaty, in-shape dudes just going at it. There's nothing about it.
The only guy in shape was Brad Pitt. And he's not even real.
Well, that's... Again, that in itself that you said that is a metaphor. That the ultimate example of maleness in this film, the beautiful Brad Pitt with his sculpted body, his beautiful abs, and his perfect physique isn't real. Isn't that in
and
its...
he's the only one having
But
sex.
isn't that... Yeah, but right, but isn't that it? But that's not true. Because Ed Norton is.
Right,
and
but
so you can
never
even talk
see
about,
Ed Norton having sex.
Right, but you could say that's all about performance issues and, like, they've like, even that as a metaphor, it's like men realize that women just want this idealized human being, and that's not the reality.
This movie is all about men's balls. Because even when he first starts... Yes, it is. It's about balls.
Really?
It's about balls.
Our most vulnerable place.
Yeah. It even starts off with him. The very first support group he goes to is a testicular cancer support group.
Wow.
Where the balls are removed.
You know what? Cheers to that analysis. I can't argue with that.
Balls.
I can't argue with that, but I think it's very astute. I mean, it could be considered a little overt, a little didactic, but you're absolutely right. I mean, literally,
come on.
The place where he goes that makes him feel better is men crying about being neutered.
Yeah, and
which is what the modern civilization has done. And he had no name for his malaise. What he was feeling, he had no name for it. And now he's found all of these other men that have given him a visual metaphor for exactly like, I haven't lost my balls literally, but I figuratively have a long time ago. And these are men that really have, so I'm feeding...
Yeah, no, I just think that this film is like a bunch of little boys who get into fights on the playground. They're just fighting. And that's not a solution. I don't think, and all the philosophical stuff layered on top, that's just an excuse to make a film about boys fighting.
Come on, man. I mean, there's a lot more going. There's a lot of craft here. Do you think David Fincher, that's what he wanted to do, is make a movie about boys fighting?
Yes.
You don't think there's more to it than that?
Aren't you excited about this film? Doesn't this film this is like, ooh.
No, I look, I find this movie philosophically interesting because it has a lot to say about how we are the consumer. I mean, look, maybe your distillation of what this movie is about is once again men. Okay, you want?
No,
all right, hang on a second.
Wait, I'm not one of those women who wants to emasculate men, and I'm not one of those women who wants everyone to be exactly the same. I appreciate femininity and I appreciate masculinity. What I don't like is it pushed to the level where it is encouraging men to go to that place. That extra violent place. Like, that's the solution. Let's get super violent. Let's just beat the shit out of each other and then we'll feel better. Is that the answer? That's not going to make you more of a man. I'm just saying.
I mean, you might be absolutely right. I don't think that... Look, I'm a culturalist. You know, I've been branded a racist. You know I'm not that. But I am a culturalist. I believe in building culture. I love human societies.
I do too.
I love what every human society on this planet has something to offer. They've created collectively, whether it's mythology, whether it's food, whether it's music, whether it's philosophy, that collectively all of human culture has created something beyond the sum of its parts. And I don't believe in tearing it all down. I don't believe that we should destroy it. I believe that we should find throughout history what human culture has done best, which is come together and collectively, and I don't mean I don't mean collectivist ideology, because I believe in the individual as well, because I think individual achievement...
I don't think that this film speaks to that. I think this is a film that tears down. And even as they're beating each other up, has any of them grown? Has any of them, like, become a better person because of it? No, they have not. You know what they need? Sure, go punch a punching bag and then go to therapy.
Well, don't you think that's what Tyler Durden, what Operation Mayhem is providing? Is the kind of therapy that, like, the therapy that you're talking about...
Really?
Is...
You want people to have therapy like that? To go and blow up
Well,
buildings?
there is primal scream therapy. There's different kinds of therapy.
Sure. Go to therapy.
And what are you supposed to learn? That your primal instincts need to be let go of? Like, you don't need to do that?
You don't need to be beating each other up.
Well, don't you think in a way
that...
that...
beating each other up. Okay, so they're in this dilapidated Victorian house. Why don't they use their energy to fix that house?
Because the house doesn't need to be fixed.
Yes, it does.
No. The house
that would be a much better use of their...
But if you look at what they've done inside that dilapidated shell, they've created with military precision. They're making bombs. They're making nitroglycerin. They
Do you hear what you're saying?
Look, man, I'm just playing devil's advocate. It's what the movie's saying. I mean, I'm not espousing my philosophy of life using Fight Club, but I'm saying that Fight Club is very much a provocative thing. I mean, look at young people now. Look what's happening in this country now. Because people are so in their own lives, they do not have satisfaction. So what are they doing? They're looking out. They're looking for causes. They're looking to find other people.
Yes,
we want a connection, and we want a cause. And whatever that cause is, we are quick. Whatever that cause is, let's jump on that. And because inner fulfillment is very difficult. External fulfillment, when you have people around you telling you, patting you on the back, be a part of my cause. It's a lot harder when you're sitting by yourself to find enlightenment. That's why, you've got religion, Buddhists.
People are going to jump on, and they've jumped onto this movie and connected with this idea, and instead of it deterring them from this kind of violence. I think it's probably encouraged violence.
Well, I would say that this is clearly I like this conversation we're having. It's very interesting, and there's a lot of people that have been firing in stuff. I can't imagine. I have no idea what people have to say now. Let's jump into it and see where people are at. Remember, we're on that camera. Let me go back and find out what people are saying. Let me go back here. So, Willow Yang is the first person here. She sends in a tip and she says, given the first rule of Fight Club, I'm guessing this will be a very short review. I love Willow Yang.
I don't follow the rules of Fight Club.
Do you follow any rules?
Because I'm not in the Fight Club.
Well, that's good. Julius Goodwin is here. Julius, good to see you. Thank you so much. I'm sure you've heard now of Hartley Sawyer getting written off The Flash because of his racist and sexist tweets. Do you think they'll just recast the elongated man character or just write him off the show? Good question. For those of you who don't know, Hartley Sawyer was the recent... Look, I have to say, his tweets were bad. As somebody who's just encountered this myself, I mean, he's joking about violence against women, and but that said, you know, Ralph Dibny, the elongated man, I'm a fan of his. I think, look, here's a perfect way to recast. I think they probably will recast. I really do. And I have to say, I think it's, anyway, I think they'll probably recast. I think they will. I don't think they'll get rid of elongated man, because he's been too good on the show. Eyes on the Wire sends in a tip and says, a rare case where the film is superior than the book it's based on. The author, Chuck, now let me try and get this right. Palahniuk? Palahniuk? P-A-L-A-H-N-I-U-K. Palahniuk. Palahniuk?
Palahniuk.
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 Palahniuk. Palahniuk. I think you're right about that. Palahniuk, who's a great writer, by the way. Interesting. Yes, he said it was better than his book. And I've read the book, and I believe that. I also think the movie A Clockwork Orange is better than the novel that Anthony Burgess wrote. But that might be, you know, what can I say? But thank you for that. Zach Losel's here. He sends in a super chat. He says, symphonic specialists of multimedia, shalom. Thanks for the Turbo Killer suggestion. It's in my workout mix. All right. I hope you watch the video. Good for you. And what is this? Elizabeth's gift arrived 2 days early. The package is now complete.
Oh.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
Your gift arrived 2 days early?
I didn't get anything, Zach.
I don't know what that means.
He was sending something.
Did it arrive and we didn't get? Do we not know what it is?
I didn't get anything.
I don't know, man.
Uh-oh.
Well, we'll see. But Zach, I'm sure we'll figure all that out. We will figure all that out. We will. Royce Freeman is here. Hello, Royce. How are you? I like the Star Trek book, The Ashes of Eden. I wish they'd made it into a film in the 90s. Thoughts? That was the first Shatner book that he wrote with the Reeve Stevens. I think The Ashes of Eden is a tremendous Star Trek story. It is a fantastic Star Trek book. And I'll tell you something. If I ran Paramount, if I ran at least Star Trek, if they ever had like the Kevin Feige of Star Trek and I was ever that guy, well, now you can't because Shatner's a little too old. Not that he can't, but at 89, it would have been a phenomenal Star Trek book. And by the way, the first 3 Reeve Stevens Shatner Star Trek novels, the Odyssey trilogy, as they call it, is all worth reading. That would be The Ashes of Eden. It would be The Return and Preserver. I recommend them all. Timbula the Spider Monkey sends in a tip and says, love this movie, also love the book. Do you have a favorite Chuck Palahniuk book? I think mine is Choke. Choke is really good. I also love... Diary's got some messed up stuff in it. I don't know if I could say a favorite. I'm drawing a blank. The book that comes... I want to say Animals. It's not Animals. I'll have to come back to that. But Choke is good. Changes all the time. Diary, yeah. And the There's stuff in Haunted I like too. Don't forget Haunted. Braxton Bowles. Braxton Bowles is 5 years old. Oh, I watch you every day when you're on. Are you showing my Captain Kirk video? Yes, Braxton. I as an adult, I had an adult slip-up moment where I did a bad thing and had to deal with it. I have not forgotten your video. I will play it. I promise you. I love your videos, Braxton. Malbrain sent in a super chat and says, tell us about the fights you've had, if any, not between you two, but those rough scuffles in childhood. Fincher's most overrated movie, Peace and Drink. Yeah. Well,
overrated.
we're almost out of this is the last of our.
Although Brad Pitt looks really good in this movie.
We have to drink because Malbrain said so. Well, I mean, the worst experience of my life when it comes to physical pain was in Australia when I was jumped by 4 guys, and they beat the shit out of me. I had 3 cracked ribs, and I was on the phone at the time talking to my ex-wife. And I was literally, I could see my apartment. I'm coming back. I was on William Street in Sydney. The footy was over. It was late night. They're drunk kids. And they came and they heard me talking loud, a boisterous American. And a guy did a roundhouse kick to my face and I went down. Now, here's the thing. If you ever get beat up or if you're ever attacked, you cannot stay on the ground. And I knew this. And I'm a pretty big guy. You have to get up. You have to protect your face, all right? So these guys were clockwork oranging me. I was getting and I was wearing that, my people call it my Snake Plissken jacket that I've worn on the show. I had it on. And, I had my nose broken. That's why my nose was crooked. And what's interesting is I'm really loud. So I literally was like screaming, but I was able to.
That's what they teach you in self-defense for women. Is like you have to like ground yourself and get really loud and yell at them and then either poke their eyes out or kick them in the balls and then run like hell. Yeah.
Well, what you do is you have to stand up and you have to protect your face. And when you're like this, the great thing about that is you can punch like that and still. What you don't want to do if you get into a fight is try and give somebody a windmill or a haymaker. Don't do that. You've got to protect your face like this and punch out that way, and I was able to do that. And once I was back up, but I didn't realize how fucked up I was. And what was interesting about this is, so I'm walking home. I had to call my wife back, and I'm like, I had no idea how messed up I am because you're full of adrenaline and everything. And where I was living in Sydney, I had a concierge, and he was this big, giant Indian dude. Rob, hello, how are you? And I walk in and I'm trying to be all cool. I'm like, hey man, and I didn't know that blood was streaming down my nose was broken. There was just blood. It was like a tap. I had no idea. So I'm trying to, as you do, I'm trying to play it off like, man, that's cool, And I was a mess, and I literally collapsed. And I woke up 18 hours later in bed. Oh, Adam Robitel, who directed Insidious 4. Adam Robitel, who directed Escape Room 1 and 2. He was there. And because we were working together, and he lived in my building, and he was there, and it was freezing because I bled out all over my sheets, and I shouldn't have gone to sleep because I was concussed or whatever. Wow. It was a mess. And over the time, did you ever get beat up?
Yeah. I mean, in elementary school, I did get into a few fights. I have to say.
Really?
I did.
How did you get? Did you use your fists?
I mean, I was taller than most of the kids, so the fights I did get into, I didn't lose.
Why didn't you just stomp on them? Like just step on them.
But I didn't like to fight. I didn't like it.
No, I never liked to fight either. It's bad. Hang on, let's go back. Rory Nolan sends in a super chat and says, better ending revealed, 1999 Fight Club or 1999 The Sixth Sense? Ooh, Rory, good question.
Oh, The Sixth Sense.
Well, it's more of a happier ending.
It is. Yeah.
Although, I would say the way the reveal happens, the way Ed Norton, when he reveals it, it's in his monologue, his inner monologue.
Yeah.
We are, I liked. Actually, there's a. It's really interesting you bring that up. Like, I didn't think 1999 was a great movie. 1999 was a great movie or a great year for movies. Both of those films have great reveals. I have to say.
They do.
I have to say. Mukbang Reviews sends in a super chat and says, "Just support. Sorry to hear some of the vile messaging you've received. Great shows." Yeah, there's been some really vile messaging that I've received for the both of us, and we're dealing with that. But that's the internet. It's incredible though, and you hear somebody threatening a single mother of two with horrible violence. It's not good. I mean, really? Ultimately, do you think that we're worth? I mean, maybe people don't like our show.
Yeah. Yeah, but the stuff he said about me, I mean, come on. I'm a mom.
Yeah, I know.
What does his mom think about that?
Well,
if his mom knew he was saying that kind of stuff, what would she
his
think?
mom will know. Oh, don't worry. Don't worry.
She would be very disappointed.
Revelations will come. Revelations will happen.
Maybe he watched this movie too much.
It could be. Mukbang. Sebastian Sanhusa sends in a super chat and says, "Hi, Liz and Rob. Fight Club poses big questions about masculinity for sure, but it is fundamentally a love story too, isn't it? Narrator kicks off the flashback with Marla and only backtracks to set up the context." Ooh, I like that. I
don't know. He like blows her off every single time.
Look, man, you have to understand, it's not like us dudes know our way around romance, and sometimes we take a roundabout way to get there.
Yeah, okay, that's true. I wouldn't call it a romance.
Should we have done this movie for Romancing the Friday? No?
Hell no.
I think Sebastian's onto something. I like this idea. I've never thought about this, but yeah, I mean, all of this movie is basically Edward Norton's mental process of how he gets to love Marla Singer. Could be.
Okay, and honestly, I feel bad for men because really a lot of emasculating has been happening. And I don't think that it's bad to be a man.
I don't either.
I just don't think how much violence is in this film is actually good. I think it's detrimental to men feeling that. I think it just heightens violence.
Mukbang Reviews sends in another super chat, says 2000 party over, oops, out of time. So tonight we're gonna party like it's 1999. By the way, I fell in love with Prince because of 1999, and not because of 1999, and not because of Little Red Corvette, and not because of Delirious. I fell in love with Prince because of DMSR and Let's Pretend We're Married. I want to be very clear on that. The racist that I am, that I've been branded. My God, Prince's philosophy, that and the fact that I wanted to play the trumpet because I wanted to be Miles Davis. And I was in a band. I should have learned to play jazz trumpet. It might have been, because Kinda Blue still is one of my favorite albums. That's a long story. Anyway, don't have to talk about that. But, Mukbang, Miles Davis and Prince, that bootleg, that is some shit right there. It's awesome. Rob Korzak sends in a super chat and says, Ace is right, that movie spawned real fight clubs. It did.
See, they took it the wrong way. This was supposed to be against violence, and it wasn't taken that way.
It's true.
I don't know what's happening to my voice.
I don't know, man. You're so incensed. I think it's gonna go long. We're a little over, but we're going long. We're going long tonight. We're going long.
Let's go long.
It's like a Russell Wilson broken play pass. Going long. S Beam sends $5 in and says, "Fun Fight Club fact: other actresses that were approached to play Marla Singer: Winona Ryder, Reese Witherspoon. They thought she was too young. Janine Garofalo is who David Fincher really wanted. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, but Helena Bonham Carter got the role. She was great in it. What are your thoughts?"
She was amazing.
Okay,
I love her.
I love her. I actually met her when I was in high school, and she was promoting a movie called Lady Jane with Carrie Elwes.
Oh.
Yes. And one of the things that struck me about her, I think she was 16 when I met her, and she was chain smoking. She was smoking, and I was like Marlo's singing.
I can see that.
By the way, in cinema history, it's Catherine Deneuve in The Hunger and Marla Singer and Helena Bonham Carter. There's that great shot. I don't know how long it took to get that shot when she smokes in the camera, and it's just the greatest woman smoking shot in all of cinema history. It's amazing. I love that.
I think she's an amazing actor.
She's amazing.
She's
amazing.
Fantastic.
Mukbang sends in another super chat and says, The Matrix, these are all 1999 movies. The Matrix, American Beauty, Being John Malkovich, Office Space, Iron Giant,
Wow.
Talented Mr. Ripley. 1999 was a great year for film. P.S. I love Fight Club. I love it. You know what else came out in 1999?
What?
June 4th, 1999, what opened in
What?
L.A. and New York? Free Enterprise. Thank you very much.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of...
Yes, 1999.
Yep.
That was the year.
Yep, but you are right, Mukbang. It is true. What a great... Hassan is here. I love this movie when I was 15 listening to nu metal bands. It's ultimately a guy flick pandering to bros who've never had a proper job in their lives. Now that I'm older, all I want is a steady income and a nice apartment. It's an enjoyable film. Yeah, you know what? Antifa's really cool until you're like 30. And then no more can you be an anarchist. Like, I really just want to settle down. And, like, you know, for the neighborhood that's been taken over in Seattle, I can't, because Seattle's my hometown. I'm freaked out about this whole thing. I'm like I want to know how they're going to, like, if they're going to set up their new culture, and if the neighborhood they've taken over is going to be the new America, like, I hope they do a good job. I really do. I want to see what they're going to do. I want to see the government that they are going to build over the next couple of weeks. You know, the Seattle letting the city council building get taken over. Wow. I just think that my hometown, not exactly impressing me, but I'm really curious to see how that experiment goes. How great is that going to be? We'll see. But Hassan, I'm right there with you. Timbula the Spider Monkey says, I love this film, but I kind of agree with Elizabeth. I think the finer points of the story get looked over by some of the mucho meatheads who love the surface message Tyler Durden is selling, but they don't look any deeper.
Yes.
But that's not the film's fault. Tim, I am right there with you.
No,
I'm right there with you.
I'm sorry. You kind of have a responsibility when you make a film that if you push the limits too far, you have to realize that people are going to take it on the surface. They're not going to think deeper about it.
Yeah, but you can't. You also have an obligation as an artist to not pander to the most uneducated idiots. You always got to punch high.
But you also have a responsibility to society to keep people safe.
Yeah, but this is a film. It's meant to be. It's an intellectual exercise. You're supposed to watch it and ruminate on it. I mean, you know, I've heard my whole life. Well, Stanley Kubrick's Clockwork Orange is irresponsible because no. Stanley Kubrick is not some misanthropic person. He is showing human folly. So we look at his movies, whether it's Barry Lyndon, whether it's Doctor Strangelove, whether it's Lolita, whether it's Clockwork Orange, whether it's Full Metal Jacket. He's saying, hey, everyone, I'm showing you this story so you don't do these things.
Yeah, but unfortunately, people just see what they see. Like, they're not reading deeper into things.
So we're supposed to dumb down our entertainment?
Well, no, I also don't agree with that either, but, I mean, did you have to make this into a movie? Couldn't you just leave it as a book?
It's a pretty great movie, though.
And did you have to depict the violence so graphically? Like, you could have done this film without showing so much violence.
Well, it is called Fight Club.
I know, come on, though.
It's just boxing.
It's a lot of boxing. And it's not realistic either, because if you punch somebody that hard, you're going to have broken bones. Nobody has broken bones in this movie.
It's pretty realistic. They had technical advice.
It's not realistic.
How do you know? Have you ever been in a fight? How do you know it's not realistic?
But come on. You don't even have a glove on. You're like, with a fist, you're punching somebody on their bone with your bones. Don't you think those bones are going to break?
Yeah.
Don't you think people are going to end up in the hospital? Nobody goes in the hospital in this movie.
They tap out.
No, it goes beyond that.
Can't argue with that. And Timbula agree with you. Trey is here. Max World Entertainment sends in a super chat and says, much love to both of you from Nicole and I.
Thank you.
I was just on Trey's. If you haven't seen Max World Entertainment, I did a great, he did a great interview with me. Not, I'm not calling myself great. I'm saying our interview, our interaction was great. I thought it was great. So check out his...
babe.
Thanks, babe. Check out his YouTube channel. Julius Goodwin is back and sends in another chat. I think you should have saved this for date night.
No.
I mean, it's got action, drama, comedic moments, romance, even a shocking plot twist. Nothing says romantic or I have deep feelings like do not talk about Fight Club or anything else for that matter.
There's no romance in this film. Okay, he has sex with her repeatedly. He blows her off every time, and it's only in the end.
He doesn't even know.
It's only in the end that he realizes that he really likes this girl.
But that's half the relationships men in the world have. They have sex with women. They don't think about them enough.
This is not a romantic film.
But
all.
But it speaks to the male culture. Like how long did it take me to come around?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's the thing. We guys are stupid. We don't understand. We have sex with women. We have to come to grips with the fact that we're not gonna find Raquel Welch in 100 million years BC because she's a movie character. We have been sold a bill of goods. Men don't even understand. We find great women that are totally compatible with us. We're thinking about completely other things.
Oh, I know.
We don't know.
I know.
We don't know. I think that.
But that doesn't make this a romantic film. It is not a romantic film at all.
All right. Well, Claudius is here. Bonjour, Elizabeth and Robert. I love this film. I agree with Rob that this is a commentary on the consumerism and dystopian economic structure, but Elizabeth has made some astute observations.
Well,
hang on. He's got 5. Wait, hang on. Tyler's solution is wrong. The films of the late 90s discussed our collective cultural malaise. This era of The Matrix, Being John Malkovich, Boondock Saints, Eyes Wide Shut, and Office Space. By the way, The Matrix was introduced in 99. We've still got people going, I'm so enlightened. Let's talk. You've been red-pilled. You've been blue-pilled. I mean, we're still using 90s imagery to explain our world today. You're absolutely right, Claude. Mr. Robot. Rob, as you know, Mr. Robot is the spiritual successor of Fight Club. It absolutely is. Both Fight Club and Mr. Robot deal with dissociative identity disorder. Tyler, Mr. Robot, and F Society wanted to destroy the economic system. Wait, you said 5. Let me hang on. Hang on. Of course, Mr. Robot has more time to explore the dystopian social and economic order. And hang on. Let me see what.
I haven't seen Mr.
Hang
Robot.
on. First rule of Elizaviews: everyone drinks. Non-alcoholic options are permitted. Second rule of Elizaviews: refer to the first rule.
I love that.
Okay, hang on. I don't want to miss anybody
here. That was
cool. Well, that's okay.
I mean, I can agree with that, but that message is looked over because I think that men just glom onto the violence and they're like, oh, this is so cool, let's beat the shit out of each other, and they're not even looking at the big picture of this film. That's the problem I have with this. The violence is pushed too far, and then I think that men are connecting with that way more than they are with the overarching message of this film,
which is what?
Talking against consumerism and all that stuff.
Well, no, look, we live, I think, look, the great dichotomy of, I think, our society, of American society, is American society, and I think this is a very American movie.
Yes.
We think we're so great.
Mm-hmm.
We're not. The idea of America is great. But in practice, we have let ourselves down over and over and over and over again because we always take the easy way out. The quick buck, we don't want to sit down. Look what's going on now. Look what's happening in this country right now.
We don't want to think deeply about things. That's the problem.
We also don't want to...
We take everything on the surface level.
We also don't want to do the work. We don't want to do the work. I mean, we're dealing... Look at what's happened. We have we have our society, Black Americans. It's been 400 plus years since slavery started in this country, and there's still not equality.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We're still watching police departments. We're watching cops, and I am not anti-police, but we are still seeing a policeman kneel on the neck of another human being. Forget that he's black.
Right.
But why is Black America? Why is there even a Black America? Why aren't they just Americans? Why do we? We haven't learned 400 years. 400 years. There's never been equality, and that's what about the Latino culture? They were here before us, and we discriminate against them. What about indigenous people? America has never even come to grips with the people that were here before anybody else was.
Right.
I mean, we have never done the real work. Everybody wants to get paid, but they don't want to do the work. Everybody wants to be a fucking producer, but they don't want to sit down and spend the thousands of hours it takes to finish a film. You know what, man? I want to be a part of it. I might be getting personal here, but it's like, let's do the hard work. Because you know what? You know what hard work leads to? Satisfaction.
Right.
Satisfaction. And I think what this movie deals with is a country of people that aren't satisfied because the work they're doing is meaningless and they don't know what they want themselves. You can't be happy if you don't know what you want. You keep waiting to find happiness, but you don't know what it is you need.
Yes, but what people are gleaning from this is the violence. Men are plugging into the violence. They are not reading into it, this deeper narrative that is in this film. That's not what they're reading. They're like, Fight Club! That's what they're seeing. They're saying Fight Club!
But that is the easy way out. It's easy to say that. I think what this movie is actually saying is think harder and do better.
No, it's not saying that. It's not. It is not saying that. It wants to say that. It's pretending to say that, but it is not saying that.
Well, what's really interesting is...
Because the violence is depicted too much. It's like over the top. The fighting is over the top. It is not saying anything but, look at this. We are so cool. We are fucking beating each other up.
You know what I find interesting about this movie, too? You know what is... There's nothing in this movie about the family.
Of course not.
There's no families in this movie.
There are no families.
There's no taking...
This is all about men. There's only one woman in this film. And she's blown off.
Well, Sebastian Sanhueza sends in a super chat and says, I disagree with Elizabeth, but she has a point. We're a generation of men raised by women, and they punch each other to a pulp, not to show what men are, but to undo what culture turned men into. But we've always been raised by women. I mean, men have always been raised by women. I mean, you know, our cultures there's been matriarchal cultures. By the way, there have been matriarchal cultures. There's been patriarchal cultures. There's all kinds of things.
But also, what I am understanding is that men are also very important to the family. And I think especially boys look up to their father to see what it's like to be a man.
Yeah, and
that's very important.
That's another problem about the fracturing of what's going on in this culture, is that there's many people in this country that don't even know, many boys that don't have that father figure.
They don't.
And the underlying reasons for that are economics, education. Again, I would say that we need to, if you want to talk about American national security, the very first things you should talk about are education and healthcare and economics. We have to lift everyone out of poverty, regardless of their color, culture, whatever. And we have to educate people, and we have to make sure they're healthy.
Yes.
Like I was saying on my show, why hasn't the water in Flint, Michigan been clean?
Yeah.
Why
hasn't it?
Well, because there's no money in it. But if people would watch The Godfather, they would know that helping your fellow man is always profitable. All the lessons you need to know in The Godfather, all that you know in life, are in the 3 Godfather movies. Even Godfather 3. Anyway, there's more people. Hang on. Nay sends in a super chat and says, the Hannibal show's on Netflix, I hear. Do you think this is a test for a possible season 4? God, I hope so.
Wow.
As many people know, Brian Fuller is a friend of mine, and the creator of Hannibal, and I would stress anybody should go watch my interview with Brian Fuller that I did for the 400th episode
I
of
would
Robservations.
love another season of
Oh
Hannibal.
my God. From your mouth. But you know what? You know what really sucks?
Huh.
So, Brian Fuller, when he was making Hannibal, they never had the rights to Silence of the Lambs. And he had all of these plans to utilize that book. So he was looking into it, and Hannibal is one of the most intelligent genre shows, certainly the best horror show ever on TV. And his co-creator of Discovery, Alex Kurtzman, got the rights and is making a Clarice series whose pilot script was one of the worst pilot scripts I have ever read. Brain Dead. So probably not.
Interesting.
You'd think that if you co-created a Star Trek show that you're making a lot of money from, did Alex Kurtzman ever go to his fellow co-creator as a friend and say, hey, I got the rights to Silence of the Lambs. How about I help you make Hannibal Season 4? But no. But anyway, that script was fucking terrible, and I'll say that. Mukbang sends in another super chat and says, thanks for broadcasting early for us for the East Coast faction. Listen, normally we're going to do our shows at 6 from now on, but when we have extra stuff to do, dog parks, stuff like that, we're going to have to do it at 7. But yeah. Claudia, Swack Props is here. Cal is here. Cal, I was wearing your shirt yesterday, son. Rob, you guys should do a tribute show to what Shatner recently tweeted as the best Star Trek movie ever. Yes, that's right. Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. 31 years have passed. By the way, the birthday was yesterday. Star Trek V turned 31 years old yesterday. 31 years have passed since this wonderfully fun movie debuted, so please give it the love it deserves. It should get the love it deserves. It absolutely should. By the way, look, I think Star Trek V is deeply compromised for a number of reasons, but there's a lot to love in it. It's got a lot of scope and it's got a lot of goofiness. I think Star Trek V has a tone problem. I have read Shatner's original treatment called Act of Love. It was amazing, and I wish he was allowed to realize more of his vision. Kaz Graphics, Kaz, you are too good to us.
Thank you.
Too good to us.
Here, we should...
cheers to Kaz. Kaz, I hope... I don't know... I cannot believe that a neighborhood in an American city has been completely taken over by what they're saying is Antifa. It's nowhere... Maybe it has in the last 6 hours become part of the modern media. I watched a interview with Inslee tonight. He had no idea, or he said what anyone was talking about. What? Anyway, I don't know. So Kaz says, hello, Ace and Rob. I received an email from Melody H., one of the CEOs from Starbucks. I work there as a senior designer for all coffee packaging. Really?
Wow.
That's amazing.
That is cool.
Setting up a meeting about saving the Cinerama. FYI,
wow.
Melody is George Lucas's wife. I'll keep you informed. Oh my God!
Oh, wow! That would be
okay,
so
Kaz,
amazing.
All my hopes. That's what Nichelle Nichols said in Star Trek 3. All of my hopes are with you. If anybody can save that Cinerama, by God, it should be you. That's incredible.
Wow.
Melody H. and that George Lucas's wife. By the way. And they are a very cute couple, and I would love to see that happen. By the way, Melody H. is beautiful and black. She is a Nubian princess.
That is amazing.
And she's married to George Lucas. If
cool.
they save the Cinerama, how awesome would that be? Oh my God.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, but remind them, tell Melody, don't forget to tell Melody that down the street 2 blocks and over a block was the UA-150 where the Empire Strikes Back played first run for 61 weeks. So it wasn't the Cinerama because it didn't play there, but just remind her that within the same theater...
What does that have to do with saving the
Well, because
Cinerama?
because the Cinerama is in proximity to the theater, because that's how much Seattle loves these things.
That's confusing.
All right, never mind. I would love to see it happen. Godspeed, sir. If there's anything I can do to help you with that, please, whatever you need. That is amazing. Wow.
Very cool.
Say this. What do I have to do? Can we start? I'll even do a whatever I have to do. That'd be amazing. People are like, what the hell is he talking about? How much wine's he had? The Cinerama is like it's an incredible theater that Paul Allen bought and renovated. It is the last single-screen grand cinema for movies in downtown Seattle. It is fantastic. It is an amazing venue. It's on 4th Avenue. It's amazing. And when Paul Allen died, when someone dies, it was one of his pet projects. Everything is being melted away, and the entertainment division of his empire is no one cares. There's nobody there that cares. So the Cinerama is sitting on a very, very expensive piece of real estate in Seattle.
Well, at the same time, they should save the Rialto.
Well, yeah, but somebody owns that. But the Cinerama, what they're going to do is build new mixed-use condos. Build it on top. Just figure it out. Save the Cinerama. Thank you, Kaz. My God. I mean, you're telling us this good news, and thank you, sir. All right. Mukbang sends in a super chat and says, people protect their face in fights, but I always say protect your neck. I can't breathe. Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
Yeah. But you know what? George was not in a fight. He was handcuffed. He had no way to defend himself.
Yeah.
And, but I can't disagree with you there, sir. I can't disagree with you. Zachary King says, Elizabeth's beauty is only matched by her intellect.
Aww.
Might I suggest American Psycho for a future episode? Wow, this is... Zachary, I would love that, but I don't know if we would survive. Would I survive? Would I survive that show? I don't know. Mukbang sends in another chat, and she says, thank you for going the extra innings. We love a longer show. Ace, you are not wrong about the violence, but it is still a great film.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I don't think you're... Are you convinced? Are you convinced? Is it a great show?
I think that men really connect to this film because it really... There's a lot of built-up, pent-up stuff for men. And I think that this is kind of a release.
Don't you think there's a lot of built-up, pent-up stuff for women, too?
Absolutely.
Because men have to deal with that, too, you know.
There is. And believe me, there's a lot of pent-up stuff for women. A lot. But in this film, this is about men. And this is about men's pent-up stuff. And I feel like men are connecting to that. And the overarching idea of this film is being overlooked. That's my feeling.
Well, and that's a good feeling. Gerald sends in the super chat and says, warm welcome to our new moderator, Henok. I can't even begin to try and pronounce that word. But yes, we have new moderators, and Henok, welcome to the moderating staff of the show.
Welcome.
But I need you. We're gonna have to talk, and I need to be able to I need to be able to pronounce that, so I can tell people. Eyes on the Wire sends in a tip and says, if we have a letter specifically for WINEning, do we have to title it a certain way? That is a very good question. So if you're sending it to me at the Burnettwork.net, just make sure that on the header, just say letter for or just say letter for WINEning. Just say that, so that I'll know. Letter for WINEning in the subject header. That's all I need, and that would be great. Mukbang says, your mods are great and do a good job, but my only whine is, if you talk about something, let us talk about the same thing. Thanks to your mods for the hard work. Mukbang, I agree.
Yeah, I have to say, though, Richard was alone in your chat today.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of moderators, not by any fault of my own, but Louis Yu's sister, there's a lot of issues there.
Yeah, he was alone, and so
Detective Jim, by the way, will come back.
It's a really big job to keep people from veering off into areas that are,
especially with me talking,
hard to deal with, like, because you could trigger a bunch of stuff happening.
Yeah.
Not that your statements were bad per se, but it could lead people down a path where it just degenerates from there.
We don't want that. Look, the whole point of this channel is for people to listen to one another.
Yeah.
And that I want to look, and there are a lot of people that don't even like that idea. So we try and do our best.
Yeah. And Richard is doing an amazing job.
Yeah. Tim says, maybe the answer is rather than having a rating system based on age, it should be based on IQ. Oh, man, that's a slippery slope. Whoa.
Oh, wow.
You know what we should really do? What we really should be doing and what we should really be focusing on as a society is make sure that people are given the tools to develop their IQs to be at the highest it can be. All shapes, sizes, colors, creeds. Everyone should have access to the best education possible. That's what America's all about. And you know what? In inner cities where we have broken families and we have more poverty, that's where more education money should be spent. So there's more programs. Rather than forget those people, why not spend a little bit more money? Get them the better teachers. Get them the kind of support they need.
Yeah.
Which we don't do.
Basic needs have to be met too.
Yes, that's right.
You have to have a place to live, and you have to have health care, and you have to have food. Those are basic needs. If those basic needs are not met, you better believe those parents are focused on that other than their children's education.
It's incredible. I mean,
if you could meet those needs, then children would be better educated.
Yeah. And that's what we need. That's what we need. I mean, you know, we talk about what's going on in this country, like Black Lives Matter. Yeah, let's get all of the black communities well funded. Get them the best schools.
Yes.
Because let people flourish.
That's why I loved Andrew Yang, because he wanted to give every single person $2,000 a month.
$1,000 a month.
1,000?
Yeah.
Okay, even 1,000. But with a family, that's like a couple $1,000 a month. That could make a huge difference in people's lives. A huge difference. Where they're not focusing on worrying about feeding their children and paying for rent.
Which is
where they can
the
focus
primary
on giving their children proper education.
I guess we can say that within this show. Wait, hang on. Dave Parker sent us a message. By the way, Dave Parker, in case you don't know, Dave Parker just sent me a message. And for those who don't know, on Tuesday of next week, The Hills Run Red, a movie that I produced and Dave Parker directed, comes out from Scream Factory. Now, I admit, it's a pretty hardcore, nasty little horror, lurid horror film that I'm very particularly proud of. But Dave Parker and I also produced 6.5 hours of brand new special features that I hope everybody can watch and enjoy. Even if you hate the movie, I think it's pretty fun. But if you hate the movie, at least the special features will give you great insight into how a movie is made. So Dave Parker texted me, the director of The Hills Run Red. If I haven't mentioned The Hills Run Red, no, I'm sorry.
Maybe that's why he texted you.
No, Dave Parker says, I'm being rude texting you, but I really enjoy watching you guys. Best quarantine distraction ever.
Here's to Dave.
Well, let's drink to Dave, and let's drink to The Hills Run Red. Rebecca Rowe is here. She says, first time super chatter, and I love the work you guys are doing. It's a great show.
You.
I just had to say how much I love Brad Pitt.
Yes.
He's one of my guilty pleasure movies, yes. The Favor from 1994. It's what made me fall in love with him. Wow, Rebecca, The Favor. Wow.
I don't know if I've seen that.
No, it's not many people have.
But a river runs through it. Yeah, that's when I...
Well, that's like the ultimate, you know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
What about, like... I mean, I think that Brad Pitt was great in this movie. What about Interview with the Vampire?
Have I seen that?
Ooh, that might be a good romance movie. How can you... What? Have you seen it? Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt?
I don't know.
Louis and Lestat?
I feel like I've seen parts of it. I don't think I've seen the whole thing.
Oh, my God. That's going to be a... what? Oh, my God. We're... what? Wow.
Sorry.
Rebecca, thank you. Thank you for the support.
Yes, Brad Pitt all the way.
Mukbong says, I disagree.
Where's Brad Pitt?
No.
He's over there. He's right there. Except it doesn't look like him.
No,
it looks like Ben Stiller.
No. Hang on. I disagree with Liz. RE movies, but I agree when she talks about men in the family, sort of political. Sorry, we love you both. P.S. Your interviews are killer. More, please. Well, Mukbang, thank you. I love hearing, like, Elizabeth is, she has a lot of experience. She's a mother, and obviously she's been a wife. She's my girlfriend. Things are good. But, she knows a lot. She has a lot of wisdom. And she's now an artist at Pasadena's Art Center College of Design. Very exciting. And she's filmmaking, which is also very cool.
Yes.
But also, P.S. your interviews are killer. Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, a lot of people have really enjoyed. For those of you who don't know, I have long-form interviews that I've done on, like, with Barbara Crampton, who starred in Reanimator, who's amazing. I did those for the 400th episode of Robservations. I'm going to do more. I have some really cool interviews set up in the future. I am going to drop my Bill Sienkiewicz interview soon, and I think it's... thank you. I appreciate that, Mukbang. I really like doing that. Snoop Claudius is here. Rob, one of your neighbors once said, everybody got their cups, but they ain't chipped in. Now, this types of shit happens all the time. You gotta get yours, but fool, I gotta get mine. Yes, I'm not a good rapper, but yes, you're absolutely... Snoop Claudius is right. That is right. See, you know what's really funny? I mean, I think about my experience of hip-hop.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big Wu-Tang Clan fan. I mean, Eric B. and Rakim. I mean, these are people that spoke to me. We talked about... But, like, I'm from Seattle. And my experience of hip-hop, I had Mix-a-Lot, who I love. My posse's on Broadway. I mean, we had fun rap. And I didn't get to experience... I mean, we went from Mix-a-Lot to Macklemore. That's Seattle's rap scene. It's amazing. Antifa's capturing neighborhoods. And I'm like, where's... But, Mix-a-Lot, he would actually hang out and talk to people. Yeah. Pretty great stuff. So, is somebody coming into the garage door? I
don't know. Oh, it's Sophie. Wine delivery!
Uh-oh.
Oh, what's up?
Wow.
That's
what's the Claude?
Is that from Claude?
I think Claude. It was
3 bottles.
Hey, wait, hang on.
Mission 1.
Hang on, Sophie. There's the camera right there. We're looking at that camera.
Right there.
So you're wearing a Rocket Man shirt. I got you that shirt.
Yeah.
I got you that. Sophie has been on Robservations before.
Once.
This is her. We're gonna open this bottle of wine.
No, we're not.
Well, yes, we are. Yes, we are.
No, we
yes, we
enough.
are.
No.
Yes, we're opening this bottle of wine. Yes, we're open. Sophie brought this bottle. I would assume this is from Claude. This is
yes.
Claude. Well, how interesting that we're watching a live show. They're in Virginia.
They are.
They have given us during a live. Hang on, let's.
I opened the door and she was like ID, and I'm like, oh.
Wow! Wait, look, dip down. See, there's a camera now. Smile, Sophie. Have you seen Fight Club?
No, but I have that gay bar soap. That bar of soap that says gay bar.
Oh yeah,
but it looks like the Fight Club.
Yeah.
bar.
Well, you know what I think. Look, you don't get delivered a bottle of wine during a show and not drink it.
Yeah, that's rude.
So, Claude and Candida, Avalon, Cabernet Sauvignon, Avalon. So, look, this is a long show.
This is a long show.
And Claude's right there.
We are.
So, he's already sending me lyrics. So
they convinced me to come on.
I think we should just finish this.
Well,
so
I was contemplating it anyway.
We can't mix our wine, so.
Yes, gotta drink this. Sorry, I can't let you have any.
I don't want any.
Yeah, you can't do that. All right. Certainly, this is going to be the longest Elizabeth ever.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. Is the whole door open, though? Got to make sure that it gets... Because anyway, well...
The dog? Should I close the door?
Okay, good.
Good. So,
Do you want me to go?
hang on. Are you taking off?
Do you want me to go?
Well, you can stay
It's
if you
up
want.
to you.
Well, you can hang out. So, Claudius sends in another tip and says, earlier today you tackled the sacred cow of Gone with the Wind. Tonight, Elizabeth is rightfully taking to task one of our generation's sacred cow... is rightfully taking to task one of our generation's sacred cows to task. She's right. Depiction does matter. The media and Hollywood does influence culture. It absolutely does.
Absolutely. Art influences culture.
I believe that 100%.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you, Sophie, have you ever seen Gone with the Wind? It's okay, you can say no.
It's okay, you can say no.
I mean, yeah,
It's a very old film.
It's a movie that came out in 1939.
I've been meaning to watch.
By the way, we toasted to
yes.
Candida and Claude.
Yes.
Ooh, that smells good.
Is this a cab?
Yeah.
I just grabbed like
Did
literally.
you? We have to cheers.
There was 3 in there, and one had a golden top, and I was like, "Oh, that one looks nice." So I just grabbed it.
Go for the gold.
Well, so
Go for
not
the
only are we
gold.
drinking, not only are we drinking Claude and Candida's wine, we're drinking one picked by a woman who has not drank wine like as a connoisseur
Nope,
yet.
she just picked the
I
gold
don't-
top.
I
Well,
don't
here's
really
to
like drinking
Sophie,
in
and here's to
general,
Claude and
but-
Candida. Claude, of course, celebrating his birthday, and Candida is a warrior. So cheers to that.
Hashtag give Sophie a show. I started a hashtag in the chat.
Give Sophie a show.
A show.
A show. Well, okay, all right. Let me ask you this, Sophie. If we did a show on a movie, what is a movie that you think that we should do? Like, if you could have any movie and pick a movie for us to do, what would a
Aliens.
movie? Aliens. Oh, cheers to Sophie. Aliens.
That's
Oh.
my shit.
Xenomorph.
okay.
She's right here.
Pearl the Xenomorph is right there.
Hell yeah.
She's a big 1-to-1 scale. We can put her on the show.
Aliens.
Now, hang on. We got to get back to this. First of all, Claude is right. I mean, absolutely. Hollywood shapes our collective unconscious, our conscious lives. It means a lot, and it does matter. The thing that worries me, though, is as we have evolved as a culture and as a people, I don't want to see the images and the things that we created in the past eliminated, because it's an evolutionary process, and being able to look at that evolution.
No, we
And how we
can't
got from-
eliminate those things. Like,
Well-
they are important to point back to have a narrative of what our history was.
Yeah.
And where we're going and where we've come from.
And
If we
how we've
erase
changed
those
and
things-
moved, and yeah,
Then that's a problem, because there's nothing to look back to.
right.
There's nothing to grow from.
No, I agree. I agree. Nay sends in a super chat. I really hope to see a Holy Motors Elizabeth soon. I will spam this every episode. Holy Motors, I have it on Blu-ray. It is
I
great.
have not seen that.
And Scream Factory, or Shout Factory. Shout Factory, for those of you who don't know, is the company that's actually putting out The Hills Run Red on Blu-ray Tuesday. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, they're putting out Holy Motors, but with 6.5 hours of special features. But they are doing that, and Holy Motors is terrific, and we absolutely. You would love Holy Motors.
Okay.
That is,
well,
you know what?
Let's do it.
You know what? We have to do a romance film, but you haven't picked it yet.
Well, you kind of bullied me into picking.
I didn't bully you into picking anything. You haven't picked, we haven't announced
Well,
it. We don't have to pick anything right now.
You suggested.
I didn't. No, don't say
that
it.
I pick.
I know I didn't. No, I'm not saying anything. I'm telling you right now.
I'm not against it.
Just wait. We don't have to.
I love the film too.
We announce it tomorrow. We'll do some soul searching. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. So, yes, Holy Motors is a. You know what?
Sophie's
Mondays we'll do it. We'll do Holy Motors Monday.
Awesome.
Holy Motors will be Monday. Mukbang says, Liz, I love that they're calling you Liz like Dave Hargrove. Liz, love your views. We always need the female perspective, and you bring it.
Oh, well, thank you.
This is,
I tried.
by the way, a delightful wine.
It is.
You're welcome.
Mm.
I totally knew what I was
Good
grabbing.
choice, Sophie. No. Always say that. It doesn't matter. Always say, yeah, I knew that. I did that for a
course I
reason.
knew
Yeah,
that.
never.
It's
Yeah.
fancy looking.
Uh,
I mean, I know my wine.
Mukbang sends a super chat and says, I saw Hills Run Red before knowing who RMB was. Loved it. Well, thank you. But, you know, I have to say that, honestly, Hills Run Red, I'm always about authorship and vision. And I have to say that the Hills Run Red, I did what I think a good producer does, which is put together people that create the vision. And the vision for The Hills Run Red begins and ends with Dave Parker and Dave Scow, the writer. And that can't be taken away. And Dave Parker had a true vision for it. And Dave Scow, we brought him on board, and he turned something that was all right, but he turned it into something terrific. Now, as you see, if you watch the Blu-ray, that the two Daves, Dave Squared, their vision wasn't entirely realized because of the studio, but I have to say that it was a delight working on the film with Dave Parker because he had such a strong vision of what he was trying to achieve. And I will put Babyface up, if it's a thing, any psycho killer from a movie, I think Babyface is one of the most fully realized and terrifying visions of any slasher film ever. So I'm proud of that. Gerald sends in a super chat and says, The Hills Run Red must be reviewed on WINEning About Movies.
Oh.
Well, you've never seen it.
I have not seen it.
And you've never seen it either.
I want to see it.
Well, we could...
Well...
against it.
the Blu-ray is right there. The new Blu-ray is...
I think
Look at this.
I think she's too
I even have it
red.
available on Tuesday. Here's the Blu-ray. Very excited for it. So we could all watch it. But you know what?
Yeah, no, I think she's too young.
No! What?
It is rated R.
I turned 17 in 2 weeks.
Oh, well, there you go for your 17th birthday.
Yeah!
Well, we should celebrate your birthday on this show at The Hills Run Red.
Yes!
Oh.
A
Give
movie
me a
that...
show for my
I don't
birthday.
know. I don't know.
Give,
Boy.
hashtag give
Okay,
Sophie
that's...
a show for her
hang on,
birthday.
that's some good parenting.
Well,
Hang on.
I don't know.
Yeah. Hang on. Mukbang is here and says, I was curious if you do a family show. We're here now. Yay. Well, that would be interesting. I mean, but Sophie, let me ask you, since you're here, what are some, no wrong answers, what are some of your favorite movies? You mentioned Aliens, but are there movies that you like that you've watched over and over on streaming services? What are some of the things you like?
I love Harry Potter.
Okay, the whole franchise. Well, that's
a Harry
good. You
Potter
grew up with
fan.
it, big Harry Potter fan. Do you have a favorite Harry Potter film in the franchise?
Oh man.
It's
Honestly,
okay if you love them all.
There's no.
You don't have to
There's no.
pick one.
I like the Chamber of Secrets.
Ooh, good call on that. All right.
I liked the Chamber. It's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Oh, Claudia says now you have the time to read the Skyfall letter. That's coming. It's 6 pages.
Wow.
You know the script. He's not talking about the letter. He's talking about the script he sent us to read. His whole thing. Like we can't be like hammered.
Wait.
We can't be into bottle of wine.
I thought it was a Star Wars thing.
Well.
Why is he saying Skyfall?
Well.
I think you're missing.
No, he's not.
Wait.
He's always talking.
Wait, where are you talking?
Now you have time to read the Skyfall letter.
I thought it was a Star Wars thing.
No,
that
with
he wrote.
his whole script. He's talking about the script.
The script was a Star Wars thing.
It's got a lot of stuff in there.
It's also Skyfall?
But I don't know.
I'm confused.
Well, I
thought it was about Star Wars.
Okay, we'll get back to that because we owe Claude that. But that's gonna be a whole separate video. We're doing a separate.
Yeah,
video.
we should do it as a separate.
We're doing
video.
a separate video for that. That's what we're doing.
Totally.
But wait, another Skyfall letter? Is there something that you sent me that I did?
He sent a Star Wars script. I don't see what it has to do with Skyfall. I think that's a different letter.
It could be a different letter. I haven't read it.
I think you've had too much wine. I'm taking this.
No,
away.
no, taking the wine.
Yeah,
Come on.
no.
Hey, come on now. Come on now.
You shouldn't have brought this.
No, what are you doing? Come on, hang on.
Whoops.
We got to end this show anyway. We're like 2 hours in. Watch Lahane. Oh, wait a minute. Malbrain says, watch Lahane. That's Lahane. Oh, my God. The hate. It's French. Lahane.
Lord of the Rings, Elizabeth.
That I like. Look, hashtag give Sophie a show.
Oh.
Yes, a lot of people are putting it in the hashtags.
What would your show be about?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that far.
Oh, well, there you go.
Just kidding.
Well, think about it. Think about what your show would be about.
I'd probably just...
We could do a show like this. Movies
Yeah.
with Sophie.
True. She's into video games.
Maybe
though.
I should
but
actually
not
relinquish my control and I'll produce a show that the two of you do.
Interesting.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
mother and daughter, movies with Sophie. You're the mother. You guys talk about films.
Maybe.
So all three of us? Or
No. I'm out. I'm not part of it.
I don't know. We have to talk about this.
Mayra M sends in a super chat and says, show idea with Sophie comparing what is considered classics or cult movies and see if they still hold up between different generations.
Now that's
a great idea.
Premise. I love
That's a great.
that.
So I would that way I could pick movies and show them to you, and I won't say I'll give you context. I'll explain what they are, but then it would be all. That's a really good idea.
You just say what you think about the movies.
Like I'll show you like something like Night of the Comet, or Body Melt. Like I would show, or the Hills Run Red.
I don't know. Like, come on. She's 17, but she's.
Hello, if you're gonna be like over, look, I think we're losing the plot.
Okay.
Hang on. Murray Reich says, "I just want to say to you all, be excellent to each other."
Why? Thank you.
By the way, how cool is it that they released the trailer for Bill and Ted Face the Music on 6/9?
All I heard was 6'9".
Yeah, and you're thinking the exact right thing, because if all we're thinking about a number, what's that number? 69, dude. That's from Bill and Ted. They released the trailer. I said this on Twitter. I go, how cool is it that they released the trailer for Bill and Ted Face the Music on June 9th?
Nice.
I said that, and people, I don't know why that's not the funniest thing ever. Yeah. Claudius is saying what he said. It's Skyfall and Star Wars. It takes 10 minutes.
Oh, it's
yeah,
both.
but dude, we have to do. You deserve your own video.
Yeah.
Which.
Yeah. Plus, we have to rehearse and stuff.
We do have
it's
to
like
rehearse.
a big production.
It is a production.
It is.
We actually need to shoot a video with coverage. You're a filmmaker. Don't worry.
It's a lot. It's a lot, Claude.
Swack props whining says whining about movies. The Commitments. A suggestion. Could be good.
I don't know that film.
You should see it then.
69.
Mukbang says 2 bottles. Thanks, Sophie.
You're welcome.
Mukbang says, no, we should thank once again Claude
You're
and
welcome,
Mukbang. We say, Claudia says, have Sophie review each Harry Potter film with Elizabeth.
Yes.
That's a good
I agree.
idea too.
We could do
I
that.
agree.
That would be a
I
subset.
have all the movies.
That would
we
be
could do that.
That would
They're
be
totally on Blu-ray.
That would be a subset of the show, because it'd be Eliza Views presents all the Harry Potter films, so the two of you do a show reviewing each of the Harry Potter movies. That's a really good idea.
That would be fun.
Heck yeah.
I'll produce it.
I'm
I'll
down.
It's
Okay.
a good idea.
That's a great idea, Claude. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of what has turned out to be the longest and most cantankerous and the drunkest episode of Eliza Views, whining about movies. And Sophie, I don't know if you know this, but we have a rating scale where we rate films from 1 to 4 glasses of wine. Why do we have our what we call the bottoms up scale? Why is that?
1 to 4 because there are 4 glasses of wine in a bottle.
Now, I have to say that we've never actually, a lot of the time we're like, it's 1.3 glasses. Many astute viewers have written in and said, why don't you do it by 16ths? Or I think we need to stick to our 1 to 4 glasses of wine
Yeah, it's
scale.
1 to 4 glasses. It'd be really weird to try to change it now.
It would be.
Yeah. And we do we do break it down.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to rate a film from 1 to 4.
It is. So our initial idea was flawed.
I mean, no, it's okay. I think it's okay.
All right, Elizabeth, so it really comes down to this. On a scale of 1 to 4 glasses of wine on the bottoms-up Eliza View scale, what do you give Fight Club?
I don't expect something good.
Well, I'm really torn because I feel like this film missed the mark. And I feel like it's taken the wrong way. And I feel like the whole philosophy of this film was just like a glaze as an excuse to make a testosterone-driven beat the shit out of people film. Sorry, babe.
Huh?
And
So, sorry. I know you people, a lot of you love this film.
what do you mean? What do you mean by you people?
I mean,
What are you
sorry.
saying, you people?
I mean,
We're in a very, very difficult time in this country, and you're like, you people.
I just meant I'm a woman. Men love this
You know,
film.
my best friends are you people.
Honey, you're my best friend. And you're a guy. Wow. Thank you.
I'm waiting, baby. Baby, I love you, baby. What's up? But I'm just waiting for what you people means. I'm just
it
like.
just means. Oh, okay, scrap the you people thing.
I didn't say it. You did. What do you mean by you people? Just kidding. I'm just waiting to get the thing.
You go first then.
Nope. This is your show. Everyone wants to know.
Well,
there's no wrong answer.
I'm having a hard time rating this film. I'm going to give it a... I'm going to give it a 1.5. Ooh. Hey, that's higher than Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
What about the craft on display? What about
that's
the
why I
meticulous
struggled.
filmmaking of David Fincher?
I mean, come on, it's Brad Pitt. And,
yeah, but what about the art of filmmaking, the craft on display?
The craft was beautiful.
I mean, this film represents the quality of the filmmaking is just
I know. I just
exemplary.
feel like the message of this film. Oh man. I'm just gonna stick with my 1.5. I'm sorry. They're hurt. Although I love the idea of this film. I love that what it's grappling with. I just feel like the violence was pushed way, way, way too far.
But it was beautifully
and I feel like
displayed.
I feel like men connected to that violence and overlooked the meaning of this film.
Well, that is a valid criticism. I mean, I can't say that you're wrong. I think that's a valid criticism. Now, I think this movie ultimately, watching it again, obviously, I think this film is very, like all of Fincher's films, has a great Blu-ray special edition, and it was great on DVD actually too. I would encourage everyone who is interested in this film to watch the special features, delve into the history of how this film was made, all the craft that was put into it, because I do think that this film is an incredibly well-made piece of cinema. Controversial, yes.
It is, okay.
Divisive,
I feel
yes.
bad. Maybe
no,
you should
don't feel
give
bad.
it...
No.
Maybe
don't try to guilt trip you into changing the
No, because
score.
Listen to your daughter.
How dare you? You don't get to change
That's
it.
right. I just
feel bad because it is a beautiful film.
What I would say though, to me, I find this film now, it is, even though it was made in 1999, it's somewhat dated. And we're always talking about where we are as a nation and where we are as, I think, from an evolutionary standpoint, I think this film is a product of its time. The same way other films that other people find problematic are products of their time.
I don't know.
But
I feel it's relevant today.
Relevant? What does that mean? Relevant?
You've given me a lot of wine.
No, Claude and Candida and Sophie.
Can I point out something someone said?
Yeah.
They said on my show that if I do have a show, that the tips should be my allowance.
I have no problem with that.
Neither do I.
If we do a show, whatever you make is yours. That's fine.
And a lot of people want to call it Sophie's Choice. I also noticed that.
Oh.
A lot of people said Sophie's Choice.
Okay, that's it right there. See, far be it when a viewer comes up with a great idea. That's an amazing idea. Sophie's Choice is a great idea for a show. Mother and daughter.
I don't know who
no one's
first
doing
came
that
up
on
with
YouTube.
It, but
Wow. I'm all about that. Look, I'm going to say that I find this movie to be an extraordinary film. I think from a filmmaking point of view, it's an incredible movie. It's a literary adaptation. I give this film, and do I think it's problematic? Yes, I do. But judging from this show, I think it's still the conversation that it inspires, what it means. David Fincher is one of our world-class filmmakers. I will watch anything he makes. The craft on display is impeccable. I'm going to give this film 3.5 glasses of wine. And No, but that's the whole thing. It's your show. The whole point is, I'm just saying that I'm coming at it from a different
Okay.
perspective. That doesn't mean... Hang on a second. You're not wrong. Everybody has seen you say what you...
The violence was too much. I'm sorry.
Paul Gilmore says, I saw Fight Club 3 times on opening weekend, and I was the only one in the theater. First movie I saw where my jaw dropped. The craft in filmmaking was incredible.
That's true.
A psychologist said this about the movie. It will either heal you or hurt you. I love that. Paul Gilmore, I love that. And that's what great art does. Great art heals you
that's true.
or it hurts you.
That's true. I feel bad giving it such a low score.
All right, well, now I think we've done a lot. We've created a new show, Sophie's Choice, about the two of you together. You'll be hearing about that in the future. What an interesting show that could be. And I think we must bring this show to an end for God's sake.
Yeah, this was a super long one.
This is a 2-hour show.
This has been our longest show.
By far.
Besides the viewer's choice wrap up at the end, and we did 2 films that night.
It wasn't even this long.
No. Wow.
So
Who knew?
we're going to bring the show to an end. I want to thank Haynock, our new moderator. I want to thank the Richard for moderating. And the whole moderating staff here at the Burnettwork. I want to thank Mike Bawden. I want to thank Detective Jim Boyers and his wife Heidi. Louis Yu has left us to go deal with personal issues, which is fine. I hope to have him come back. I want to thank Sophie for being here tonight. First time on the show. And apparently we all together have collectively created a new show, Sophie's Choice, mother and daughter talking about movies, soon to debut on the Burnettwork. So look out for that. And I want to thank all of you for watching the show and the incredible support you give us. Elizabeth, what do we say at the end of our show?
Everyone you meet has a story to tell that you yet have to hear.
You have yet to hear.
I always get it wrong. All you have to do is listen.
All you have to do is listen, and I believe that. And what else?
Have a better night.
Have a better night, winos. Whiners.
You're a wino.
Who's the wino?
I'm a whiner.
You guys are on wino.
Ladies and gentlemen, gentle beings, kind souls, however you identify, whatever you are like across the 28 known galaxies, we thank you for being here. And apparently somebody didn't do their homework, but we're going to watch a romantic film on Friday. We will be back.
I did my homework, and you bullied me.
No, the Grand Budapest Hotel is like, it's not a romantic film. I mean, you can't do that. No.
0. It's all about his...
Like, I was disappointed. I thought we were going to watch, Water for Chocolate was great.
Okay.
Anyway, look,
you bullied me, and you wanted me to choose.
I've been accused of being a racist. Now you're saying I'm bullying you?
Met Sally,
I'm doing really well on the internet this week.
Which I love that film, by the way, but I resent the fact that
suggested it.
You wanted me to pick that film.
We could do same time next year. I'm
going to pick a film that you have not seen.
Okay.
Is there a film he hasn't seen?
Have you seen About Time? Actually,
I know what he hasn't seen.
I love About Time. You showed me About Time.
Seen.
That's a good movie, though.
I was going to pick About Time when you said, how about Harry
Wait
Met
a minute.
Sally?
Well, why didn't you pick that?
Fine, I'm picking About Time.
About Time, that's a perfect movie.
I love that film.
All right, then.
I really love that film.
Friday's movie is About Time.
About Time.
About Time is so good. I love About Time. I can't wait to talk about it. All right, then. So there you know. Ladies and gentlemen, this gentle beings, kind people, aliens from across the 28 known galaxies, whatever you...
I'm a Galian.
You're a Galian.
I'm a Galian.
She's a Galian.
I'm a Galian.
You're a Galian.
I made a shirt with a rainbow alien that says Galian.
I love that.
Yeah.
And now you're going to have a show called Sophie's Choice. I love that.
I'm going to wear my Galian
Ladies and
shirt
gentlemen,
in the first
thank you
episode.
for being here. Thank you for the support. We appreciate it. Thank you for the letters. By the way, Claude has basically written a screenplay that we're going to perform.
Yes, we will do it.
Don't think we've forgotten it.
We will do it.
I mean, it's kind of epic.
Yeah.
And we have to make...
See, I have to rehearse.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the problem.
That's why I was nervous about doing it. I have to rehearse.
I know. All right, I'll be back on Robservations tomorrow. I am not on the John Campy Show. Thanks very much for being here. Thanks for your support. And remember what you just said.
Have a better night.
Have a better night. Thanks for being here.
See you later.